Hello dear friends, I'm Professor Kakhaber Djakeli and today we are speaking about copywriting. So this is third chapter in copywriting business. Wonderful things are offered by copywriting. We can help brands to be great. We can establish brands by pen. We can write some word and brands can be established. So this is a wonderful thing. If you know the secret of brands, you will be champion of the business. You will be champion of politics, because politics is also based on words and how we say our words. So today we are speaking about some instruments of copywriting, and these instruments, they are essential to be well understood by my listeners and to be well used by companies, organizations, brands, and some kind of informal groups intending to set up new business, intending to set up new organization. So right now we are speaking what is needed to establish great copy. And the three things please take into consideration. The first one, this is word bank. Please note for yourself that this is not World Bank. This is bank of words, word bank. So any serious brand manager, any serious marketing manager, to deal with copywriting, to deal with brands, and to deal with some future of strategic brand management, to future of brands, should have some kind of special marketing research results what are speaking about words, what are speaking about appreciated and mostly interesting words about brand, about company, what is well understood by final customers. So when we say about word bank, that means that this is not all kind of 100 million words. We should try to understand what kind of words are working well to some kind of industries, to some kind of branches, to some kind of people, to some kind of brand personalities, and to some kind of products and services. So this is my great advice to you to shape your word bank. If you have word bank, you can have 300 words for each your brand, what you want to develop. If you have word bank, you can understand how to divide words into some kind of great mission, great meaning, some kind of unconscious associations of the words. So words can be different. We can establish also new words, but we can understand well how these kind of words, they work in different societies. So beside word bank, we need brand dictionary. What is the brand dictionary? So any great brand is some kind of association in the mind of customers. When we speak about brands, let's once again remember and recall its definition. So brand is a sign, symbol, term, association, name, color, some shape, or combination of them to differentiate products and services from their alternatives, from their competitors, to position them well in the mind of final customers. When we speak about branding, we say that branding, this is all about differences. What kind of type of differences we want to create in the process of branding. So these differences, they are positive differences. So we want to create some differentiated associations in the mind of our customers, and this kind of type of interesting marketing activities, they are entitled as brand awareness creation activities. So there are two types of brand awarenesses. The first type of brand awareness is entitled as recognition brand awareness, and the next type of brand awareness, this is recall brand awareness. Which one is better? This is the question. So to think about this, let's imagine ourselves, we are walking in the street and someone, friend, we see, and this friend is speaking with us, but we cannot recall his name or her name, but we know that this person we met once in our life. So this is recognition brand awareness. We recognize this person, but we don't know who is this person, what kind of role he plays in society, what is this person's mission and ideas. So that's why we don't remember his or her name, because we don't know mission of this person, we don't know some kind of objects and some kind of ideas and targets of this person. That's why we have only recognition awareness to this kind of type of person. So that means that awareness in the way of recognition awareness is very poor and weak awareness. But what is recall? Brand awareness. Brand awareness in way of recalling is more important. So that means that you need English teacher. Immediately you recall the name of your friend who is English teacher himself or herself. You call this person and ask for help. So this is recall awareness. Which one is better? I think that recall awareness is better. But history of brands is closed to the words. Words, they play great role in the development of brand stages. That means that if you want to establish great brand, all times you should think about what kind of words we are used by brand until this brand came to us. So some brands, they have 10 years history, some brands they have 20 years history, some brands they have 120 years history, and all these histories, they are closed to the words. Why not to recognize this great history and great hierarchy of words in the history of some brand? So we know also brand genealogy as a wonderful, interesting instrument in strategic brand development. So that means that if you want to do great strategic brand management, all times you should know well to which kind of words this brand is closed, and with so which kind of words this brand has great associations and wonderful meanings. So, and some kind of words what are working really positively for the brand and what we are used in different kind of periods in the life of the brand. And we know wonderful concept of product life cycles, brand life cycles, in different life cycles of the brand, different words we are used. Why not to gather all these words to establish the big association dictionary of the words working positively for some kind of brand? And the third one is about examples of tone and voices. Tone of voices is a wonderful thing. Different brands, they have different tones. Different products and services, they also try to brand themselves through different tones of voices. So that means that we should understand well what kind of type of tone of voice is more positively working together with some kind of brand and some kind of name. So once again, I want to speak about word bank. Word bank, or bank of words. This is some collection of evocative and appropriate words. What you wish to maintain in your copy. Why? Because these words are attractive for your customers. That means you know well your customers. You have some kind of marketing research, you know results of marketing research, and finally you understand how to deal with these customers using some kind of words from your bank of words. So in politics, for example, foreigners or people speaking on some dialect cannot have public speech effect. Why? Because they use different words. So we know that political some heroes coming from provinces to the main place, to the capital, they struggle all times to learn the language, they learn the words, to learn some kind of attitude towards associations and especially words of the elite of the country. So what to do? Brand is all times close to some kind of team, some kind of groups, some kind of languages, some kind of words. All times we should try to know these kind of things well. Even some political guys, if they try very much, they cannot speak with people well. So public politics is also some kind of political market of public brands, public political brands. And so these political heroes, if they don't know language of the people, if they cannot maintain some kind of, not only promises, political heroes, they rarely forget in some kind of stages of their life, but the words they are using some kind of sometimes are wrong for elite of the country, for some kind of biggest group of the country who wants to hear the same words, the same tone of voices they want to hear. So people using some dialects in their speech to be public speakers, they struggle a lot. So the same thing we can understand in the market of different brands. So what is interesting thing in brand dictionary? Brands particular, they own words. Brands, they contain some words, some kind of phrases, some associations, some voices, some tones of voices. So this kind of type of phrases and words can be divided into two main directions. The first one, this is generic terms and the way to use them for different clients, to different customers and consumers. So the second one, this is common jargon. So this common jargon means that people in the street, they use their street language. This is slang. This slang should be well understood by copywriters, and copywriters should speak with people using their own common jargon or some kind of slang. So if they use this slang, people are happy to hear the same slang where they have, and people are happy to hear and to listen the same jargon they they elaborate, they maintain during some period of the life, during some period of the history of country, or during some period of the history of some social movement of the consumers of the country. So copywriters, they have some rule. They don't like abbreviations at all. If they can realize the meaning of abbreviation, why they need this kind of abridgment of some kind of name, abridgment of some kind of a great meaning. So you must know what jargon terms are liked by customers, why customers like this jargon, why customers like this slang. And copywriters all times they think how to avoid long words, long jargons, long some kind of phrases. They want to be simple, they should be easy. And what is the great copy? Great copy is sometimes the phrase or some idea what is written itself. So that means that it comes naturally from God. So it comes naturally to the mind of copywriter whose hand is writing itself this great idea, message or something. So myself, I elaborated the principle of two coverings in my copywriting. I have some experience in copywriting. I worked as a chief executive officer of different movie making companies. So I have my experience, and my experience I entitled as the method of two coverings in copywriting. So this is the method what makes you, if you want to establish some message, for example, to divide this message into two parts. The first part will be some kind of phrase, some kind of sentence, what should answer on the question of listener, on the question of final customer. And this question of final customer will be like this: what is offered to me? Can final customer ask after listening the message, after listening some message of advertisement. So what is offered to me? What offered to me? This is one of the coverings. When you open the box, I imagine all times two boxes. The first box, this is covered by this kind of type of topic. What offered to me? By this kind of type of question. What offered to me? Customer asks himself or herself. So, and we are saying something, some message we are saying to the customer. Customer recognizing that this is something interesting, but continues to think doubtfully to the same way. So why I should have this? Customer continues to have skeptical thinking about our offering to them. So why I should have it? So, and after that, the another portion of our message is coming. So, like auxiliary forces, they are coming to satisfy this skeptical question of final customer, the skeptical question of our customer. So and finally, customer is more persuaded by advertisement and more persuaded by the message. So, for example, I can tell you how I created a very interesting slogan and message for International Black Sea University. So when I was offered to create the message for International Black Sea University, what is very famous institution in Caucasus, Georgia, Tbilisi. Its abbreviation is IPSU. So I was thinking using this two covering approach to put into message building process. The first stage was what offered to me. I was thinking like customer. So I established the idea that this should be about main benefit to customers, main benefit to students and their parents, because parents and students together they build some kind of group of customers. So I wrote the idea that this can be international education. So what is the international education? Many things are different. So you have internationally well-known professors. University is using one of international languages. In the case of IPSU, it was English language. So university has multicultural society, and all syllabus and special academic programs in marketing, management, business administration, and all kind of other directions. All of these programs, they are international. They have the same understanding of things like other international programs around the world, and they compete against international universities, international academic programs. So, and this is benefit. This is one of benefits, but this should be clarified. It should be well explained why it's benefit. So when I'm saying you, what you offer to me, you are asking to me. So you are a student, for example, and I'm saying international education, and you are saying why I should have this, and I'm saying the another stage of my message. I'm saying international employment. You will have international employment, my dear. And so when I created this message together, one famous professor of management, Georgi Bagaturia. So we created this message using this kind of type of principle or appropriate method of two coverings. We wrote on the blackboard little longer message. After that, shortened this message and received this kind of slogan: international education, international employment. And this message or slogan was working really well during 8 years. Now maybe it should be little rebranded, little changed, but during 8 years this slogan worked really well. Why? Because when you say, when you see it's written on the some kind of great printed press or some big banner, and you see that this is written on the wall, international education, international employment, you are asking yourself, international education, yeah, it's interesting, but why I should have this? Oh, because of international employment. This is continuation, and you are satisfied because international education means something very interesting for everybody. So this is two coverings principle in message building, and message building, this is also part of copywriting. So two logics I want to offer to my students, to everybody writing their copies, writing their some kind of brand copies. The first one, this is logical thinking, what was established many centuries ago by great Aristotle and great Plato. So this is logical thinking, especially by Aristotle, who is entitled like one of the genius of his time. Philip Kotler, professor of marketing, says that Aristotle was like Google of his time. Logical thinking was wonderful, great, so idea to make everybody to be logically thinking guys. But Edward de Bono, in our century, he offered to people new type of thinking, what is lateral thinking. That means that this is our logical thinking. You should try to play with words. You should try to play with ideas. You should think about future. It's not traditional way of thinking. Logical thinking is watching in the direction of past, and from past it is gathering some kind of basics for action. But lateral thinking is watching towards future, and from future is gathering some kind of interesting basics for action. Both of them, they are great. Logical thinking is great. Lateral thinking is, I think, for 21st century. But my idea and my hypothesis is that lateral thinking all times was well known. Only right now we recognize this as a lateral thinking, Why? Because even in the period of Alexander the Great, so I think that the king of Macedonia, Alexander the Great, when he started his invasion to Persia, when he invaded Persia, and when he already engaged in very, very heavy military conflict with Persia, he had not only logical thinking but lateral thinking as well. Why? Because through logical thinking he could not plan the campaign. Can you imagine that you are Alexander the Great and you have only 35,000 troops, and you should cross the Bosporus, you should go to the land of Persia, and you see that your opponent, King Darius, has 1 million soldiers. And entirely, this is huge, greatest empire, and this empire has 5 million soldiers entirely. And this empire is very strong, by the way. And you are small country, like you are one point on the earth. This is Macedonia. It's small country. In that period, it was also small country. So, and how to start such kind of war against huge military power around the world? What is Persian Empire with logical thinking? No, it's not possible. With logical thinking, you can be only quiet, and you can think that no, it's not possible to win in such kind of conflict, and better to give up, and better to continue some kind of little actions in the geographical location of Macedonia and small Greece only. So I think that Alexander the Great, he knew also principles of lateral thinking. That means that he was trying to capture the ideas from future. So lateral thinking is also promising thing in copywriting business. So when we use well lateral thinking and logical thinking together, we can continue to work on tone of voices. What kind of things are needed? So first of all, please establish the version of positive voice. What can work better for your brand? After that, let's establish the version of negative voice. What can damage your brand and damage your customers? So check voices on prospect customers. Do some kind of research. Study these voices on customers. Elaborate your style of languages. So there are many types of voices, by the way. Baby voice, adult voice, sexy voice, sexual voice, female voice, male voice, gangs voice, farmer's voice, experienced old man's voice, whispering voice, drunk man voice. So Russian speaking into Georgian voice, Georgian speaking badly into Russian or English voice, Englishman speaking about Georgia, this is also very interesting type of voice, Georgian speaking, Chinese person speaking, Indian person speaking into English, French, German, Russian. So these voices are really very interesting, and all these voices have their great meaning in the mind of final customer, and these voices can help you to elaborate great brands. Voice examples, we can continue. Incredible India, so I cannot say this, but this incredible India is so interesting, it's so attractive, it's so right tone of voice that everybody wants to travel to India. So this is like a song, like a promising message, it's little sexy tone of voice, it's also female voice, and it's also sophisticated traveler's voice. What else? Many things can be. So great copy comes from great brief. Right now it's better to speak about briefs. Golden rule: to assume nothing. To assume nothing, to rely on brief. What is the brief? You should think from this brief. You need brief. Every brief has three essential elements. The first one, this is profile of your target customers. The second one, this is core message that is to be communicated and why target customers should be interested in it. And third one, this is why target customers, they should be attentive to this kind of type of copy. So it should be written in the brief. Find the best environment for creativity. So you know that creativity we can define from different kind of great creative minds and their ideas, but I think that this is wrestling with your mind, and we can use very interesting words, how people are so critical against all kind of new ideas. But please don't push yourself and don't be quiet because of some people who can be critical to your new findings. All times be innovative and don't be passive. So don't be afraid if you can be criticized by someone. And Edward de Bono, who established very special logic, what is lateral thinking logic, he said, we live in critical society. We are trained from birth to criticize, and it's very rare to find constructive feedback in any field. We know that we don't like some kind of new things. Negative criticism is human nature. So these great words, they were told by Edward de Bono, and I can suggest to you to use very interesting type of checklist in your copywriting business. So does it answer the written brief? So that means that checklist for copy, how you should check the copy. The first question what you should ask yourself, this is, does some kind of things, does it answer the written brief? That means that copy we have already, and does it answer some kind of ideas, some kind of interesting things what are already in the brief? Is it interesting or not? So can you reduce words, the number of words? Does it run in right order? Do you believe in the message? Does it tie with design concept? Does it include clear call to action? Do you believe in message, and is it using reader's language or not? So we have this kind of 9 main principles or main questions to check your copy. So this is 9 checklist questions for copy. Writing for brand and brand marketing. You have to think about brand's language. No brand tone. No brand voices. So create style. Create your voice style. Create your tone of voice and its style. Distinguish your tone of voice from all competitors on the market. Create special tone. What makes people to recognize your voice, to recognize your symbols, to recognize your verbal communications. Be forward thinking. This is very interesting thing. All times be forward thinking. Language is brand's personality. So when we establish brand name, all times we think that this brand name should be very attractive for everybody. So copywriters they suggest to take a pencil to write down all possible words and relevant short phrases about brands. Relevant words we can find in different books. Especially we should establish brand word dictionary. Think laterally, play with the words and mix them around, keeping in the mind the brief, short list or ideas. So when we speak about messages, when we speak about copies, they are also small tales. They are so very short tales. In copy we should put great idea. So we want to say that this is not easy job. It's very difficult job to put very deep idea in short copy. Is complicated but great geniuses of writing, great writers, great masters of the word, they could do really wonderful things to write very short tales. The shortest one with greatest idea is something what was written by great American writer, great humanist Ernest Hemingway, who is for me wonderful, great advisor all times. So he wrote only some kind of shortest sentence. For sale, baby shoes never worn. So this was shortest story of writing master, writing so great master of words and praises, who was Ernest Hemingway. So mistake of brand managers all times lies to the so non-creative wording, non-creative copywriting. So sometimes brand managers, because they are not writers, they usually choose the wrong words, the wrong phrases. Brand people have an urge to fill every space and tend to take scientific rather than creative approach, preferring to replicate other big brands than create new. So we should try not to repeat these mistakes. So right now we are concentrated to the main idea of the copy, to the principles of copywriting, and once again we should think about how to establish word bank, how to elaborate special brand dictionary, and how to establish tone of voices, what can distinguish our brand from other brands, and so make effective all marketing and brand oriented actions using principles of copywriting. Thank you very much and good